This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Howdy. Yes, sir. Every day of the week, you get a Miami Heat report. Twice a week, this gentleman joins us exclusively here in South Florida, Anthony Chiang from the Miami Herald, and our liquor split Miami Heat report. Good morning, sir. Hope you are doing well and ready for Game 2 tonight.
Doing good, Big O. How are you?
Very good. By the way, since you walk into FTX Arena as a crypto guy myself, I'm just wondering, have you gotten into crypto yet at all? Because I think so far, of any of our insiders, none of them are into crypto, right? Not one of them. Well, actually, there's one now. No, Craig Mish. Mish is actually into crypto. He and I had a crypto conversation the other day because, as you all know, we added Craig Mish to the family. Now we added Marlins reports now to our family. So, are you into crypto at all yet? Have you been intrigued at all? I'm just wondering.
I am intrigued, but I have not gotten involved yet.
Okay.
I want to. I'm interested for sure. I know it's probably the wrong time at this point because I've waited so long. But
No. It's the greatest time ever. Listen to me. The greatest time ever. We have been in the golden window for the last 5 months where we've had a down. There's blood in the streets. The amazing part yesterday, people don't talk about this. The Dow went down nearly 1,200 points yesterday. You saw that, Sean? Bitcoin didn't move. I thought it was. I was ready. I had a couple extra bucks. I was ready to buy another dip, and it did not move. It stayed in the 29 area where it's been. So I'm really wondering if it's finally hit its bottom. So actually, and we have several crypto segments on this show. It's all there video. So if you ever want to pick up a little education.
Yeah, it's good to know for sure.
And of course, if you always can pick up the phone and call me.
I was gonna say I'll call you too. I'll probably might call you.
You can call me. You can call me. But definitely, it is a great time right now. All right. Is it a great time for Lowry? What the hell is the deal? It seems like he's out again. How bad is this hamstring now? Because this is the kind of stuff that can linger for a long time.
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, in every sport we see it. Hamstrings can linger, and especially when you come back from a hamstring and then you re-aggravate it, that's not good. So I always said, I've talked to a few people, and even they're not sure when he's going to come back. They think it's probably 50-50. He comes back at some point soon. So doesn't really give you an answer, but I think that just shows you the uncertainty right now surrounding his status. He missed 2 weeks when he first tweaked the hamstring. This Sunday will be 2 weeks since he re-aggravated the hamstring. So I always said I thought he was going to miss at least those 2 weeks, which would take him to Game 4 of this series. So I think there's a chance he could come back. Like I said, they think 50-50 in this series, but we'll have to see how he progresses and how he feels, probably early next week. My guess is he won't come back until at some point next week. That's my guess. He hasn't even practiced with the team yet, so.
All right. Well, folks, if you're watching the Heat or the Panthers tonight, remember, download the app, iOS or Android, Liquor Split. You can order your liquor, snacks, all of that. Don't want you drinking and driving. Flat fee of $2.99. No hidden fees. $1 of it goes to help homelessness in Miami. So download that app. All right. So it looks like he's out. Now, if we start to look at it, are they missing him? Really, are they missing him right now with the way Gabe Vincent is playing? And one of the things that happened in the last game, and I told you about this, I told you I didn't want to see Duncan Robin minutes split up.
He didn't get any, no.
With Caleb. Caleb ended up getting all the minutes because they need two-way players in this game, in this series. And unfortunately, Duncan's not even a complete one-way offensive player, much less two-way. So talk to me a little bit about that. Are they really missing Lowry right now? Because can Lowry even provide what they need in a series where they desperately need a two-way player?
I think Kyle's a solid defender. I
He
do.
is.
He's
But
he's a
right now, where the
right.
shape he's in is what I'm saying.
Right. The fact he hasn't played much in about a month, pretty much, and you don't know how close he is to 100%. I think that's why they're going to be patient, though. We saw that a 70% Kyle Lowry. It's just there's diminishing
I
returns with
believe
that.
we saw him get into foul trouble because of
Yeah,
that.
I mean, and he
Okay.
didn't make a three. I mean, he didn't make a shot. Pretty much his 2 games back. So 100% Kyle Lowry, yeah, he makes this team better, especially in close games. Thankfully for the Heat, they really haven't had that many close games down the stretch so far. That's when you really need Kyle to kind of set
But
things up.
this is why I bring it up, my dog,
Yeah,
because he'll never be 100% for the rest of this year. He's done. You don't go from where you're at right now to 100%, bro. Doesn't happen.
yeah,
Sorry. I've been
right,
covering sports for 32 years, dog.
right,
I know you don't go like that with the hamstring. Hey, Lynn Bowden Jr., half his age, he missed last year and was put on the IR because of a hamstring injury. Now he's back after a whole off season. He can't be on mini camp. Why? He's got another hamstring injury. So you wonder, it's like, did you handle it right? And that's
yeah,
a young player. So that's my point. That's why I ask you that. He will never be 100% for the rest of this season. I think we can agree on that. The
sure,
Heat may not tell us that, but come on, man, we all
yeah.
know.
No, it's
So remember, people have been talking about this, writing about this. So do you ease him back now because you're afraid you could tweak that thing?
yeah. I think that you have to find out what's that point where it is worth having him out there, right? And there's no easy answer because you don't know until he's out there. That's the problem. I'm sure the reason they've had him come back against Philly was they thought he could help them, right?
Right.
And we
Of
saw
course.
that he really couldn't do much. And I'm sure they won't say they regret it because they have no regrets, obviously. But you think if they would have just let him rest that entire series, give him 4 total weeks off, would he be closer to 100% right now? Probably, right? So yeah, I think you're right. He probably will not be 100% the rest of this year just because of the nature of the hamstring injury. But can he get to 90%? Is 90% Kyle Lowry better than Gabe Vincent? We'll have to see, and the Heat will have to make that call, at whatever point that is when they think he might be ready. And also you have to remember, I know the C team is deep right now, even without Kyle. I mean, you have Caleb Martin as a ninth guy, but having Kyle in there makes them even deeper, right?
I
I mean, you
know.
could play 10 guys, and guys don't have to play as many minutes, and Jimmy doesn't have to, handle as much of the ball handling duties when Kyle's in there. So I think Kyle makes his team better. It's just about, can he get to that version of himself that can help this team? That's the big question.
Yeah, and here's the other thing that we've crossed this threshold now too, Anthony, and we're talking with Anthony Chang, of course, from the Miami Herald in our liquor split Miami Heat report. A lot of veterans, as they get older and they get banged up. You remember Dwayne Wade had to deal with that bruised knee and all those kind
Yeah,
of things, but they still find a way to get on the court and they find a way to help out. And Kyle's now at a point where his body and at his age, he's not able to overcome certain things anymore and still be effective. And that's the trick that some of these guys, as they get older, even when they get banged up, they still find a way to get out on the court. PJ Tucker
right.
and whatever he did in the locker room at halftime or whatever.
A genie, he said. There's a genie back there.
Well,
Yeah,
what if Will Smith was there and they rubbed him out of the bottle and he got away from Jada Pinkett Smith and he gave him a wish? Well, then that's fantastic. But my point is, PJ Tucker finds a way
right.
with that beat up body to get back on the court and help his team. And Kyle Lowry has crossed the threshold that he can no longer do those kind of things.
Yeah, and I think every injury is different, right? I'm not saying PJ's injury is not bad, but when you have a hamstring like Kyle, you just when you're not effective and you can't play and you can't, it's hard just to run.
Right.
You can't be out there in the playoffs. You just can't. They're going to take advantage of you defensively. On offense, you saw him he tried to play. Well, he played the rest of that game in Philly when he heard it. We heard it, and he was out there. But on offense, he was just standing still, just passing the ball, pretty much.
Right.
So you just in the playoffs against really good teams like Boston, you can't have a guy like that out there. So I think the Heat are obviously making the right call with him, and especially when you have a guy like Gabe who's playing so well in his shoes. And Gabe will tell you, like, Kyle's a big part of that. Kyle's helped Gabe a lot this season as far as becoming a better point guard, making, better reads. Kyle's really been big in his development. And even during these games when Kyle's not playing, you see it on the bench. Like, Kyle's usually one of the first ones to Gabe, telling him something when it comes to the bench, when it comes out of the game. So you have to give credit to Kyle for kind of help. Not, obviously Kyle didn't expect this, but the fact that he's helped Gabe throughout the year is paying off right now while Kyle is out.
Speaking of hammies, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, what do we know?
Yeah, I expect them to play. I'd be pretty surprised if they don't. They were on the injury report last game too, both of them with the same hamstring injury, and they played. And they were, Strus had like a kind of an uneven game, but they were both fine. So there have been a bunch of guys who have been listed as questionable for the Heat this entire playoff run, other than Kyle Lowry, basically, and they've all played. So I'd really be surprised if they're not on the court tonight.
By the way, at halftime, I got all these panic wussies all over the place, and I don't know what you were thinking at halftime, but I'm like, I watched, and maybe it's you want to call me a homer, go ahead. But I looked at that half and I go, so wait a minute. So the Pritchett kid and all these guys played their asses off. They played like this incredible first half.
And they're up 8.
Exactly. Miami played like dog shit, and they trail by 8 points. What's there to panic about?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's what stood out in that first half. Like, Miami couldn't have played worse in that half. And to only trail by 8, I was like, they got this, bro. They're fine. They got to come back. And then the lazy take comes at halftime. I think it was Jalen Rose. Oh, you got to play Duncan Robinson. It's like, do you people understand this game? Do you understand this team? The defense is what ignites the offense.
Right.
That's what they were missing. Bunnies. They were missing layups. They were, the day you want to say, hey, play Duncan is the day you're in a game that's super tight. Everybody's playing their asses off. And the only area where everybody's failing is
shooting.
3-point.
Yeah.
3-point. Not shooting. 3-point.
Yeah. Well, like in Philly, last 2 series.
Yeah. Just there's one little element that maybe you want to stick them in for a couple minutes, get them a couple open threes, and get them the hell out. I can understand somebody telling me that, but when I'm watching defensive breakdowns and lazy passes in that game too, it took them a while to figure out, Boston's watching and they're looking at the passing lanes and they're trying to disrupt it and they're active hands, and yet they had one lazy pass after another. Dude, that has nothing to do with Duncan Robinson. And so I don't know what it is about the lazy take, but it's like it's like their go-to thing when there's a struggle, but they don't really look at what the struggle is.
Yeah, it's kind of like football, Bill. You know this. Like, everyone wants a backup quarterback to play.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's just the easy answer because you haven't seen him play, so you think he can help. So yeah, I totally agree with you. In that first half, they were generating pretty good looks against the Celtics defense. The Celtics defense is very, very good.
Yes.
But it was defensively that was so uncharacteristic for this team to allow 42 paint points in one half. I mean, they had been allowing like 35 paint points per game in the playoffs. They allowed 42 in one half. It was very unheat-like, and we saw the big drastic change in the second half where I think they allowed 6 paint points in the entire second half after allowing 42 in the first half. So that first half, like the fact that they were losing by 8 after playing that poorly defensively, I think that was encouraging. It was like weird because at halftime, like, wow, Celtics look a lot better. But then I look at the score and they were only up 8, and I'm like, this feels like a lot worse. And obviously he turned things around, and you saw what happened.
I'm with you there. What did you think of Stephen A's I don't know, I guess declaration that Jimmy Butler called him after the Sixers series and said, "You and everybody have slept on me." I personally love that because that's just fuel to his fire, and every great pro has done that throughout his life to motivate themselves.
Yeah, it's just fun. That's fun. I kind of like that Jimmy's doing that, in the playoffs, and he deserves it. Look, he's playing awesome. I mean, I don't say this lightly. I know this is usually like hyperbole, but Jimmy Butler in this year's playoffs, he's playing like Michael Jordan.
Superstar.
He's putting up Michael Jordan numbers.
Dude, I've always said Jimmy Butler's a hell of a player. He's an all-star. He's not a superstar. Not a
He's a
superstar. Not a
superstar.
superstar. Well, dude, I can't keep saying that.
No,
I can't keep saying that
and it's
because
hard. It's
he's doing superstar things. Oh, you
yeah,
need me to play defense? All right, I'll shut this guy down.
just
Oh, you need me to
everything,
play
everything.
offense? Oh, I'll do it. You need me to steal? You need me to pass? I'll do it. Whatever you need me to do, I will excel at. That's a superstar.
Yeah, but what's the biggest, like the most surprising thing for me, and I think that's what makes it hard to explain, is Jimmy Butler in the playoffs is a different player than the one we see in the regular season. I don't know if we could like have a comparison for that for another player in another sport. I know like Josh Beckett maybe and with the Marlins in that year, but playoff Jimmy, he's like a totally different player. I mean, you don't see him score 40 plus points in a regular season game. He's done it 3 times in the playoffs already.
I think
He's more aggressive, takes threes. He just has full control of the game. It's just totally different than the regular season version of Jimmy Butler.
here's the problem with Jimmy Butler, and this is what screws all of us up. How many times can you think in your lifetime, okay, that you've watched a player manufacture himself into a superstar? And let me explain. You knew Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and Michael Jordan were superstars already right from the get-go because they flashed the talent. Giannis Antetokounmpo did not possess the magic of Bird and Johnson and Michael from his early days because he was so raw. But his rawness, his pure athleticism was so freakish that
Right.
you said once he honed that, he will be a superstar. And sure enough, but Jimmy Butler is not the guy that wows you with his jumping ability, his shooting ability. He just doesn't. And he came into the league as the blue collar defender that had to learn how to shoot a mid range and then learn how to drive and learn how to fill the lane and all that because he was kind of a raw offensive player, but he was all defensive effort.
Right.
And so it's hard to imagine how many of these superstars have been manufactured. And there are very few. And I don't know, maybe, we've got hundreds of people watching here. I don't know if you guys can think of a guy that really just came out of nowhere and slowly but surely has just built a career that he goes from you know, role player to frontline player to exceptional defender to all star to now being a superstar because
Yeah.
it's the way he plays. How many of those guys exist? Because you knew Trey Young was something special shooting wise out of Oklahoma. And you said, well, if that translates, well, then yes. That's how we're used to seeing our superstars, that they're flashing from such a young age and then they kind of grow into that because we expected them to do that. This is the guy that we've never expected him to do any of this.
Yeah, it's very unique. I mean, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, and I go back to those Pistons
Hard.
teams maybe, but even then, like Chauncey
No, but
Billups.
Isaiah was that guy in Indiana.
Yeah, but even
He was
like
the
the
guy.
the more recent Pistons teams that won the championship, like
Oh,
with Ben Wallace and like Rip
that's
Hamilton and John,
superstar.
but they didn't have superstars. They had
They
really
were
good
superstars.
players. Rip
Yeah, no.
Hamilton, but what Jimmy's done, his path to becoming a superstar,
Yeah. Yeah.
is
Hamilton
just
doesn't even come close on the
no,
defensive side of the
no.
court.
You're right. You're
Not
right.
even he can't even in his dreams defend half as good
Yeah,
as Jimmy.
yeah. No, I don't. I'm sure there's somebody out there, but off the top of my head, I just can't. It's so unique that
Paul
you have.
George. Paul George
But Paul George is
is
very gifted in high. He was coming out of
super,
yeah.
yeah,
He was really gifted
super
coming out.
gifted coming out. Yes, exactly. Paul George is,
Um,
and by the way, Paul George is not a superstar because he doesn't raise his level of play all the time in key moments where Jimmy Butler
yeah,
does all the time.
maybe Kawhi Leonard. I mean,
Yes, that's a good one.
Kawhi.
That's a great one because Kawhi Leonard went completely on the dude. He was traded for George Hill.
Yeah,
That's a great one.
yeah. And he
You
was
nailed
he was
it
kind of a role player on those really good Spurs teams early on, and then he turned
early
into
on,
the guy.
and then
So
he
maybe
grew into the guy.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that might be one. And even having said that, Kawhi Leonard raw ability is still
right.
superior to Jimmy Butler. You know what I mean? Like Jimmy Butler again is not the super athlete that in anything, dude. Anything whatsoever. Yet, brother, his production is superstar. It's just it's crazy, man. It just
If Jimmy continues to play like Michael Jordan, he'd have a chance to win the championship. I'm going on a limb and saying that.
of course. Yeah.
He's been incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no doubt the defensive disposition of the team
Yeah.
is always going to give them a base in this NBA. You know, back in the 90s, several teams can play defense. Not a lot of teams can play the way that this team does, you know, 8, 9, 10 deep, that they've got guys that can actually come off the bench and be two-way players. Not a lot of them are coming up on but Kawhi might you came up with a better one. I think Kawhi might be that guy that kind of really has grown into being the superstar. All right, Horford's out. What do we know for sure the head coach wasn't available to you guys?
Right.
Now they said it's non-COVID. Do you expect him to be out on the court at least coaching?
I would think so. I mean, we haven't heard otherwise. But I'm sure we'll get an update later on today. But yeah, all we know is that he missed media yesterday with a non-COVID illness. Right. And Marcus Smart is listed as probable. So I think the expectation is Marcus Smart will play, which obviously should help Boston to have another really good defender out there. But Al Horford is doubtful. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Al Horford also misses game 3, because he is in protocols and that takes a little bit.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely. That thing lingers. Whenever you get the COVID, it lingers usually for a week or two at least. You're stuck with that thing. So yeah, unfortunately for them at least, we're saying at least for now, nobody on the Heat side. We haven't heard anything, right?
Nothing yet. No. And you don't want to see that on either side because you don't want that to impact the results of these games. Obviously, So at this point of the season, so it's just unfortunate that 2 years into this, obviously that we're still a thing that we're dealing with in the world and now in sports too. Still.
Yeah, but listen, again, that's kind of part of the whole thing. When you win it all, you got to have some breaks. And when Miami got to the finals in the bubble, the Bam and Goran injuries were not the break that was the break the Lakers needed, not Miami. And so that's kind of part of the game, dude. It's just you got to have some breaks go your way too in the process. All right, what are you writing in the Miami Herald so folks can check you out, my friend?
Yeah, today I'll have something actually on Gabe Vincent and just how Kyle Lowry's influence on him. I talked to Gabe about kind of where Kyle's helped him the most this year, as far as his point guard skills. And then tonight we'll have all full game coverage, and I'll have takeaways, in-depth analysis of game 2, whatever happens tonight, win or loss. But it is a big game because obviously if the Heat go up 2-0, I don't think they've lost a series in franchise history.
Really?
That they've been up 2-0 in.
Did not know that. Wow.
And if the Celtics win game 2, that's what they came here for, a split, right? So
yeah, definitely.
For some reason, it just feels like a swing game to me. I'm not saying that if the Heat go up 2-0, they definitely will win the series, but I mean, they have a pretty good shot if you have a 2-0 lead. I mean, the Celtics would have to win 4 of the last 5 games of the series to win it. So tonight's a big one.
So you're saying Kyle Lowry is not Ryan Tannehill. He is actually sharing his knowledge. Oh, okay. All right. Just checking. Follow him on Twitter at Anthony_Chang. Catch his exceptional work at the Miami Herald. And, of course, you can catch him exclusively here twice a week, sharing his Heat and NBA knowledge with us. Mr. Chang, enjoy the basketball tonight. We will catch up with you next week.
Thanks, Big O. See you soon.
You got it. There you go. Anthony Chang, baby. Download that app, iOS or Android, Liquor Split, and tap that app. You love to tap that app. Get your favorite liquor delivered. No drinking and driving. Flat fee, $2.99. No hidden fees. That's our Liquor Split Miami Heat report.